Yo, what's up?
How you doing, man?
Good.
Good.
No
Listen,
countdown. Just on it.
just we're going. No, we're just here. We don't do the countdown anymore. We just bam.
Bam. Here
We
we
just
are.
we just we just right in. Yep. Nope. Nobody cared about the countdown. They were like, people started leaving, counting it down. No, we just show up nowadays. We're just right here in your face. How are you doing, man?
Yeah. Doing great. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. Listen, there's just so much going on in the earth, isn't there? Just crazy stuff. I wrote down a couple of things because I just wanted to dialogue. I'm thinking about, you know, Venezuela. It's just you know, people are mad that Trump's going in and saving people and rescuing people and
Yeah.
delivering people from a dictator. And then, Iran, this just had enough. They just are done, finished. And then so I was listening to some people, just some social media, and people are calling for Trump to come in. I mean, they're actually saying, "Come in and rescue us. Come in and do something. Help us." And and then people are mad because Trump, is involved in stuff, and I just think I think it's important that we talk about these things because when it comes to it, Christians, you know what we first do? The first thing we do, yeah, tell me what you think the first thing Christians do when they hear all of this rumors of wars and wars and rumors of wars. What's the first thing that they have
He's
in their mind?
he's coming.
He's coming. Jesus is coming soon. Jesus is coming right now. It's gonna happen any day. And so why should we even be successful? Why should we even
Why?
start a
Why? Yeah,
business?
exactly.
Why should we even pay our
What's the point?
mortgages? What's the point? Why should we why if Jesus is coming, why should we spend time renewing our mind and becoming prosperous people?
Hmm.
Why should we, what in the world is going on in this world? So I think, one of the things that I wanted to really talk about is the fact that when it comes to making something great, you're going to have to address the things that are not great about it and the things that are in the environment that are not great, right? So if
Hmm.
you want to have a great body, if you want to have a great body, you're going to have to address the fact that you have donuts. That's in is donuts in your kitchen. You got to address that fact, and don't address it with the fact that you're going to put those donuts in your face. You're
That's what
going
I
to
would
have
have
to
done.
address the environment that actually is keeping you in the
Yep.
realm of, and don't get mad because I can get canceled for this, of a realm of being fat. If you if you don't want
Hmm.
to be fat, you got to remove things that make you fat. You got to get rid
Yeah.
of it, right?
Yeah.
You got to clean it. You got to, well, those donuts have done nothing in to you. Well, they do. They cloud, they mess it. I'm only saying this because I had some donuts in the house this week, right?
I
So
wish.
I wish you got to get rid of the stuff that
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
actually so. When it's funny because when I was talking to someone recently and they said, well, now he's messing with Venezuela. This was back a couple weeks ago, and I said, well, the thing is, when someone says that they're going to make America great, what do you actually think that they're saying?
Hmm.
What do you
Yeah.
actually feel like they're saying? Because the realization is Trump has a place in his mind when America was great. America
Yeah.
was great in 1976. America was great in
Hmm.
this season. What
Hmm.
was America doing at that time? We got to go back and ask these questions. What was America doing?
Dominating. We're dominating.
Dominating.
Hmm.
Dominating.
Feared.
America was
Yeah.
dominating. America was getting into everything that would corrupt the world, that would stop the dream, that would stop the purpose of America dream.
Yeah.
Someone, I'm going to turn off the chats because people start saying stuff. America was doing cocaine. This was true, probably, because in the 70s they had the
And we're still
cocaine.
doing it. That's why I went to Venezuela.
that's why we that's why we're dealing with Venezuela right now, because America was doing. But I mean, cocaine was in, and that was in the 60s, but cocaine, I said 50s and 60s, cocaine was in Coca-Cola, right? So,
Yeah.
so yes, but the fact is we need to get into revelation that if someone's saying, I'm going to make America great, and you get mad because they start doing things that were not here, I
Hmm.
mean, taking care of stuff that we didn't have in the 70s. We had
Yeah.
cocaine maybe, but the fact is we didn't have open borders, just borders, anybody just being able to do whatever they want whenever they want. My wife's from
Yeah.
Holland. Okay, so do you know how many times that we had to go through interviews? Do you know the times that they said they were going to kick us out? I mean, they were going to kick her out. They were like, you're faking it. She's pregnant. She's pregnant. She's pregnant. And we're still going through interviews. And she's pregnant. She was like, I'm having a baby. I'm having this baby. You could have got pregnant by anybody. You could have got pregnant by anybody, and you're just using him to get in. Right. And so they were actually grilling her. I mean, it's like she went through a serious grilling, all of the stuff that she had to go through. And we just look at it and go, well, there's ways to get into America. You don't just actually have to like do improper, illegal things. And I know that I have people that they work with people that are, nowadays term is undocumented. Well, the fact is there's still a way to be documented. It's like, even if you're here undocumented, you just start going through the process. We don't want to necessarily throw you out, but the people that are criminal, that are bringing in criminal things, that are bringing in fentanyl, I don't know how many times that fentanyl, like the thing that's dangerous about fentanyl now is the fact that you can actually use a Narcan to bring someone back from an overdose. So,
there's a safety net.
There's a safety net, and you have people who have been Narcaned 15 times. They were dead 15, 18, 20 times. At that point, that is not going to be sustainable. That is not sustainable for any society. You have to do something about that. And when you don't do something about it, you're actually just sustaining some kind of activity that's going to come in the future that's going to now flood into every aspect of society, not just a society where, okay, that's the drugs, that's the drug dealers and the drug addicts, and that's in their own little ghetto. But I live on the east side, of Washington, not eastern Washington, but in a more established area of the Northwest. And there's just as much heroin, just as much garbage. I remember thinking when we started working in this area, the amount of kids that were on heroin, more kids on heroin in the suburbs than there was with our other location that we were working in the urban communities.
Wow.
And I was thinking, that is crazy that you would have that. But what do you think? When you have money, things are more accessible to you.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, we're going to hide it. We're going to pretend like it's not there. Right. The cover up.
Daddy will bail you out.
Daddy will bail you out. So when we have this realization that, well, just let it all run its course. Let them do whatever they're going to do. Well, that's not really realistic. Okay, so I've lived in Oakland, California, growing up. Oakland, California. I mean, I remember getting up, and I'm gonna let you say something, but I remember getting up. I remember waking up in the middle of the night, going in and wanting to get a glass of water, turning on the light switch, and the counters were just like full of roaches. And as soon as the light comes on, phew, you let one roach in. You let two roaches in.
Yeah.
They're going to take over. And I'm not calling people roaches, of course. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying the fact is if you don't curb, if you don't actually put disciplines and standards in place, then it just loses all boundaries and loses all things. So, I think the fact that, Venezuela is celebrating, Iran is like going, we have also a form of dictatorship here.
Yeah.
Right. All form of dictatorship. Bring us a Trump. Come on, Trump, rescue us. Isn't that crazy? Because people like in America going, you're too busy in other people's business. But that's what America was great for. America was great in doing that. Any thoughts?
I think that's what you're saying about just let it run its course. I think that's just nature by itself. Something left unattended is going to deteriorate naturally. I mean, you don't tend to your garden, the weeds are going to come. If you don't, there is no neutral. I mean, it's just in your health. If you are not exercising, your muscles are going to be deteriorating no matter what. You're getting older. You have to fight that by tending to it. So to say that let it run its course is just ignorant. Why is it that you think that people are like, let it run its course, let it be? Why is it so hard for people to see how great America was even 15 years ago? So why are they fighting it so much? Is it just this new thought of like liberalism, freedom, almost like a new hippie movement? What's the issue with that? What's the problem with that?
Well, I think it's also this idea. Yeah, we want this utopia, but we don't really know how to get it. People get jealous about, you got a new business, you have a new car, you're going to get, multiple homes. They see these businesses exposed and blessed and increased. And then they go, oh, you're doing something wrong, because they don't know how
Mm,
you actually make money. They don't know how to make things great. They just know how to receive great things. And so when you don't know how to make great things happen, you just sit around and you complain about the fact that someone's doing something and you don't know why they're doing it. But there's and Earl Nightingale said the only way to get success is to do certain things in a certain way. So if you don't know how to get success and you've never done certain things in a certain way, then you can't actually go back and see, oh,
mm,
this origination here, this is the source, and this is how it's going to, this makes sense to me. I found out something about Gen Z, which I found is very interesting. You and I would watch it, we'd go and watch a Marvel movie, we go and watch Avengers or whatever. And we're like talking about the character, and the character is like cool, but we don't get into the life history and the source of the character and the background of the character and the prequel story of we don't, the origin story. We didn't do that. We just kind of said, oh, this is great. This is Peter Parker. But they have
mm,
because there's been this multiverse, they have now they have backstories for each of these characters, and the Gen Z, they have discovered those and they know it, and they want to know what the source is, what's the backstory, what's happening now, what's going to happen in the future with these people, who are the actors playing it. I mean, their investigative world is really amazing. Their TikTok investigative spot. And I find that they are investigating everything at a different level. The reason we have more Gen Z in church than any other generation right now is
mm.
because they are more investigative than any other generation. They don't take anything on face value. So they're the
That makes
ones that are
sense.
going, we're not taking anything on face value. You told us to question everything, but it's not going the way that they wanted to. It's not going the way that millennials questioned everything, where they said,
Yeah.
oh, we question everything. We question you, right? And we did, and not investigating anything, just go through emotion. But Gen Z is going, we're questioning everything. So let's study everything. Let's research everything. Let's
Hmm.
talk about everything. Let's go into it. And so it's a different kind of mindset, because they want to know what's the origin and how did we get to that place, and how did we go there, and what were the steps and the mindsets. So we have a generation that is really smart, because they're going to do their work, they're going to do their homework, they're going to do their
Hmm.
investigation. So how does a person go look at, say, well, this, you want to make America great? They're just thinking about what makes them great. So you make America great. I want more money, and I want more money now, and I want more money free, right? I want make it great for me. Don't just make it great for the fact that, I was working with someone years ago, and their business was to create a banking system that allowed that worked with people who moved into the nation, and that were sending money back to their across the borders, across the other
Hmm.
countries. And so the business model is brilliant, but then, they started telling me the numbers of amount of money that is made here that's not spent here, that actually is not making America great, that's shipping back to other countries. And it's actually deteriorating the economy in the ecosystem of America. And
Hmm.
that's one of the things about the borders. People aren't going, well, what's happening? How much? Why is, again, why are these other countries, whatever it is, that are saying, that's okay, keep the people? Because the amount of money that's just coming through,
Comes back. Yeah.
that comes back, is just boistering,
Hmm.
without any kind of, there's no paper trail, right? There's nothing that
Yeah.
says this money originated there and there should be taxes paid. So money's just going out. So economically, there's a lot of reasons. And of
Interesting.
course, through the mercy and through our desire, we go, yes, let everybody come into America. Let everybody get wealthy. Let everybody get rich, right? We want that. But we want to know that we can actually still be a good country that hasn't
Yeah.
just been sifted and left, like a car with no wheels. It's just America sitting on blocks, right? We can't do that.
Yeah.
So China coming in and doing, buying up all the land. I mean, it's like the amount of, we were years ago, just, a lot, we were in such competitive, in the Northwest, we're in a competitive real estate market anyways. But China coming in and buying up so much real estate was a massive problem, because every time I would go and bid on something, then they would just come in and boom. And if I didn't have a cash offer, it was just straight cash, and then just like that's gone. And we found out that it was, Chinese investors, and that's fine. And then, or it was insurance companies, investors. Trump just come out with this, this statement that, we're not going to allow Wall Street to dominate our single family homes. Did you heard that? It's really interesting. And, I think it's interesting in a lot of ways, because he's trying to make an affordability play. I mean, it's I've talked to some specialists and some analysts and some people, and it's going to work in some parts of the country because those are like the major, like, condensed areas, but it's not going to affect what's happening across the nation. It's not going to make a big difference. But I love the idea that there's an affordability play, because we have to start addressing the fact that we have young people, these Gen Zers, that might not be able to afford a home, or there's people that can't afford a home. So we have to make America great. We have to come back to this place where America is going to be great. And there's going to be people that just hate what we're talking about, this idea of America great, because they just can't they don't actually get the idea that he's not thinking about something, but he has almost a nostalgic feeling. And this is my interpretation, right? An idea of what it looks like for America to be great again. And I remember thinking, America went in and say, my wife, again, from Holland, and she tells the story over and over how America and Americans came in and rescued Holland from the Nazis. Came in, and that literally her mom was eating tulip bulbs and was eating, they had nothing. They were poor. And it was the American soldiers that came in and were rescued them so that they can, my wife is alive today because America went into Holland and rescued them from, the Nazi regime. So there is there's stories that we don't go back and talk about. And so we're like, oh, these just in someone else's business. But there's going to be generations down the road that go, thank God that there were American troops on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, even going to Seoul, if we, you and I have never been to Seoul, Korea together, but we go into Seoul, there's a strong American presence there. I haven't been there a couple of years, but when I was there, I was like surprised how many American soldiers there, and, still needing to keep the separation between communism and freedom in Korea. I don't know if that's still today in this year that we're in, but it's amazing to go and see that. So I know I'm jumping around, and I know I'm just kind of ranting, and I wanted to talk to you about it, but I wanted to prophetically rant as well, because there's like this idea. The first thing that came to my mind is, okay, Christians are probably thinking, why in the world why are you in there talking about success when the world's falling apart? We have Americans, we have one more thing, and then I'll let you say something. Just kind of
I like it.
But we have this. I woke, I turned on my phone, and I went to check a message on a DM on Instagram, and I see this picture of all these people laid out, dead. It's probably in Portland or in Seattle, and they're laid out dead, and they're going, no more ICE, and it's like the die in. So it's like they're like pretending like ICE is a military force just killing all these, like a massive slaughter, like we see that's actually truly happening in other countries.
Yeah, Christians, especially.
I met some leaders today, pastor from this weekend from I wonder if I should say the names of the place, but they're from a country. Where are they from? Burma, from Myanmar. And they were talking about how there's 1,000 Gen Zers being killed every single day by the military regime.
God.
And, and we just as Christians want to sit around and pray about this stuff, and we're going to pray about it. But that there's got to be some military activity. There's got to be a response. And of course, I have no influence I've not been invited to Mar-a-Lago, and I'm not in Trump's, board or anything. But the fact is there's got to be a great America again that allows this world to actually know, hey, there are some policings going on. And if you don't trust NATO, and if you don't trust, the World Economic Forum, if you don't trust these things, we're going to you actually do have a responsibility to somebody. And I think that's a part of being having justice in the earth, having righteousness in the earth. And so 1,000, we don't talk about that in Myanmar and in Burma, 1,000 Gen Zers, the future.
Jeez, the future.
Why targeting the Gen Zers? Why? I think they're smart. They're brilliant.
Yeah, as you're just saying, they do the research, they're exploring, they're discovering Christ, and not just discovering him and meeting him, but they're digging deep as to what it really means to be a follower. So what they're doing is just pulling the seed out of the ground.
And then you have these countries, and again, I can hardly, I don't know which countries I can say and can't say because, I do want to travel, and they may stop me from coming into their country. I'm planning to go to the UK here soon. So that's just funny. But, there's these countries that you say, well, someone says, why are they treating social media that way? Why if someone says something in social media, they immediately lock them up and put them in jail and put in prison? There's nothing more powerful than your voice on social media, which is really important to Christians, because we just want to show our latest, cheesecake recipes. But the fact is your social media post can activate 10, 15 people, even if you only have 100 people on your social media. You can activate 100 people. That 100 people then activate another 100 people. Then that 100 people activate, another 100 people or 1,000 people, or, then it just multiplies. And after a while, you no longer have control of the narrative. The narrative has shifted. And so
tell me about it.
That's why they shut down immediately. They shut down Iran's social media, because that narrative is shifted. Of course, orders and other things are going to help to get the word out. So what in the world is going on, Stephen, in this world? What in the world is happening? What's going on? Tell me, Prophet.
You talked, there's a practicality to helping people like the Gen Z that are being murdered. I mean, the story of the Good Samaritan, he helped economically. He didn't just pray for him and be like, hey, I hope you feel better. Let me heal your wound, or let me give you a Band-Aid. He helped him economically. That really transformed, literally saved that guy's life. So yes, it's great to pray, but we need finances to actually go out there and help these people being slaughtered. It's simple.
Yeah. We need finances. And this leader was telling me, it's like we are rich in Burma and Myanmar are rich in everything in the soil is rich. I mean, so you have jewels, you have all kinds of wealth there, but it's not getting to the people, right? So it's a poor country people-wise, but a rich country resource-wise. We see that in a lot of these countries. They're rich. The amount of wealth that's there in
Venezuela,
country.
prime example.
Venezuela. I mean,
they just signed they were going to sign a big old deal with China, right, for like some mineral rights, like a couple of days before this whole thing happened.
And what's really dangerous is that they signed it with the wrong people. You get in the wrong partnership. That is not making the world safe. That's not going to make the world safe. So we need to make sure that whoever these major resources are accessible to, that it's actually a good relationship. It's not like a mafia, right? But that you're right. There's resources in Africa. There's an amount of resources that are in the earth, that are actual natural resources in Myanmar, the natural resources. And so we have these places. There's no reason for poverty to be there. The only reason poverty is there is because poverty is a mindset, not a lack of something. It's a mentality. So I believe that part of this mentality that's snuck into Christianity, which says, why even try? Why do anything? You know what? I have enough. My family has enough. I'm able to even pay tithe. I pay tithe to my church, which is 10%. And I feed the poor every so often. That's enough. Is that a good? Would you say, as a business owner, that's a good mindset? I have enough for me. I actually still pay tithe, and I help the poor. Is that enough?
I think that's the ultimate. I mean, I'd even call it a sin or the fault of the church to allow somebody to sit where they're at. Like, just be. It's okay to be where you're at and not call them up like you do, or like Awaken does brilliantly. Like their message is always more, better, not more for the sake of more to line your pockets. By default, yes, there has to be the overflow. So if I got a really big cup, overflow, they're going to fill my big old cup, and it's going to overflow to other people so they can drink too. But I think there's so many churches that just leave, and pastors that leave people to sit where they're at and in their comfort. And that's the most, I mean, I'd say it's just slap in the face to your creator that you have more in you to do more, and you're letting them sit there and do nothing, or just be complacent to where they're at.
And I think that's, the complacency comes in, I think, with the way we think that everything ends. The end times for end time eschatology for a Muslim is not that we're going to go anywhere. I mean, they tell you you're going to get, if you die as a martyr, you're going to get 72 virgins or something. It's like, I don't, so that's not end times. That's a martyr death. Their end times is a caliphate, a complete, Islamic state. The world's going to be completely Islamic, or submit to Islam, or be, I wish I had a mushroom cloud to show, right? or be obliterated, right? You gotta submit, because Islam is about submission. Their end times strategy is not, hey, let's all live together under you. Be who you want to be. If you want to wear a rainbow, you can wear a rainbow. No, that's not the plan. The plan is I'll use that agenda, your rainbow agenda, to get in to power, and then I'm taking your rainbow from you. Your rainbow's gonna go away.
I think that's what's so important about Success Church and other groups that you put together, because you just started out this call by saying, by who you're around, like your product of your surroundings, right? And I think, like, the Bible talks about a double-minded man. Like, if you're in your head, you say, I want to earn more, I need to earn more, but your subconscious, which I would think is your double mind, is conditioned by all the things in the old school churches about poverty and piety, all that stuff. There's a conflicting, and you're going to sabotage yourself on generating income because of your double mind. So by being in these calls, I think you were gradually teaching people you are on what the Bible actually says. So the more you're on these kind of calls, the more that subconscious, your double mind is agreeing with it. And then when you want to go be successful and you want to go generate wealth and you want to know stuff, then they're both aligned, and then you're completely unstoppable.
You're completely unstoppable. And so that's, I think one of the things that we are going to address a little bit is the fact that this idea that we're trying to consolidate the double mind into a singular focus of success and wealth and increase. And one of the things I'm going to target really heavily this year is the violation that Christians feel when we say it's time for us to be rich. I mean, they feel violated. They feel like, oh, that's vaccine to me. You're talking about money. You want to be rich. Well, the Bible talks about being rich. It doesn't talk about a lot of other things, but it talks about being rich. It uses the word rich, and it uses the word rich for it's a plutocracy, a plutocrat. And so when you are growing so fast, and you and I have talked about so fast in your wealth that you can't count it, that's what God wants you to have, rich. So fast in your wealth that the moment you finish counting, it increased so fast. So when God says, I want you to be rich, he's not saying, I want you to be rich, just happy and you have a nice car, house. I want you to be truly rich, where it's impossible for you to actually keep up with me. And so you're right. So we consolidate, but there's still this thing that we have to address, is how everything's supposed to end for a Christian. Christians think we're going to make a lot of money, we're going to build these big homes, and then one day he's going to rapture us out of there. So when we're raptured out, all my stuff is left for that sinner or whoever's left on the ground. And so, it feels like, have fun. It's like, okay, this is just a joke, but I want my sinner, whoever gets my sinner, to really have a lot of fun with it. I want them to be able to take the planes I want them to be able to ride. I want them to come up immediately because I went out. I want them to have an immediately come up. But the realization is going back to the other religions. So Judaism doesn't have an escapism mindset, and Islam doesn't have an escapism mindset. Christians, we have an escapism mindset, which actually hinders. That's another one of those sabotaging traits. It's like the University of Irvine, doing the exercise testing the bicep. What happens with the bicep if you don't believe you can curl? Your tricep kicks in and keeps you from actually being able to lift as much as you want.
Whoa.
So you have this is why we work on that double-mindedness, is because if you
Yeah.
don't have a single mind saying I can lift this amount,
Wow.
even though you can't, if your mind says you can't lift it,
Yeah.
your tricep confirms it and proves it.
What's that famous bodybuilder? He's like, I command you. And he starts talking to his muscles. What's his name?
I don't know.
You ever seen him? He passed away. He's like, you will lift it. He's talking to his muscles.
That's awesome. Well,
yeah, I'm going to send to you after this. It's brilliant. He's a famous guy.
That's that singular mindset, that ability. So I think the more we don't know how to interpret what's happening in the end times, we're looking at the end times, we're going, oh, the world's this is all going to end. This is all going to be devastating.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we have that, the less we actually go to work. The less we go to work, the less we go and we just want to watch. And then once it's safe, you wonder why the stock market and even cryptocurrencies fluctuates when the news is not good. News is not good. It's like people go, I'm pulling everything out because they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know that this may be a bump, but it always comes back up. It swings again.
Always.
But the emotions immediately pull out and they go, listen, we've got to pull ourselves out of this. And it moves by what the news is saying or why what's happening in society. That's what's happening to Christianity. We actually don't stay all in and go all in for God, all in for wealth creation, all in for building the kingdom of God, building churches, building organizations. We don't go all in when tough things are happening. Tough things are happening. People they just want to sit back and watch, and then they'll make their next move. But you and I mean, you're not going to stop if the world's like having trouble around the world. Even if something happens in Washington, you're in Idaho, or something happens in California, you're in Idaho, your business, you're going to go to work.
Yeah.
People still need to eat. People will still pop in. You may put something on the television, that kind of helps people stay aware, but you're not going to change your business strategy. You're not going to change your business plan. Not if it's not a direct thing affecting. So, but people,
I suggest
everything.
You got to work harder. I think you'd have to work harder to overcome that mindset of people that are scared of certain stuff.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. So, there's going to be some things happening this year. I think I'm feeling in the fall that there may be some financial adjustments. I'm still praying into it, but there may be some financial adjustments towards the beginning of fall, looking at the stock market having some adjustments. But this is going to be a good year. This is going to be a great year. And
I believe it.
It's going to, we'll have to fight through all of our stuff on the global sense. I feel like there's some alignments like what we're seeing now, but I feel like there's going to be some countries that have to rise and become their brother's keepers. And, I think America is deciding to become its brother's keeper, at the same time protecting our world, protecting our borders and our space. So we've talked for 30 minutes here. I'm excited about it. I have a good time. Anything you want to say before we jump off?
No, that was great. I enjoyed it. I forgot people were watching.
Yeah. So we just are, I think I wanted to just have kind of like a prophetic rap, just kind of talk.
Love it.
And when we have these things in the news, I think there's a play that we all need to do with affordability real quick before we get off, because that's, Mom Donnie's big thing, affordability. I think he got elected for the statements of affordability, and I'm going to keep everybody accountable to making sure America's, that New York is affordable. But the fact is affordability has to come down to the grassroots entrepreneur, has to come down to the fact that we are going to, if there's a housing shortage, we're not going to allow the government to be our landlords. We're just not going to do that. We're going to actually build more homes. So the strategy, and we should probably come back and we'll bring some people on, but I think the strategy for all of, I'll wait. I'll save this for next week. We're going to talk about the affordability crisis and what is really the answer to making homes affordable. And we'll talk a little bit about that next week and what you can do. And I'll just tell Stephen what you and I need to do is we need to find properties and build more. We need to build more. There needs to be more contract work, more construction, more development. And that's going to be the key. But we'll talk more about that next week. All right, Stephen, thank you. Appreciate you, buddy. And
likewise.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning in and just watching our conversation with ourselves. We forgot that you were even around. All right. We'll talk to you soon. See you next week.